Hi girls. Okay, so at this stage you should have your proofs written out, and now I suppose it comes to you have to learn these off. So I mean there used to be 15 of them, so I know they're not the nicest things, but be grateful that there is less of them. Okay, these steps up here are very important. So for every single theorem that you're asked to prove, so it'll say something like prove, and then you'll know you're looking at a proof. We'll look at the exam questions toward the end. Okay, so the first thing is you state the theorem. So for example, in the first one, the theorem is that the angles in any triangle add up to 180. So that's something we're using. You use all the time, you know that 3 angles add up to 180, but now can we prove that that's actually true? And a theorem is a proof. So the theorem is how do I prove what I already know? Okay. The given. So you draw a rough sketch of the theorem. So here's a triangle and they've chose to call it A, B, C. You could go X, Y, Z. You could go D, E, F. You can choose whatever numbers you want. Okay. And the angles are marked 2, 4 and 5. So they've gone 2, 4 and 5. And that's what they've chosen, or that's what was given to them in the exam question, etc. Okay. So what construction then? Draw any additional construction lines that you think you may need. Okay, so what we're constructing here is a line that is parallel to BC. So that's a construction that you have. Construct a parallel line to a given line. So this is the line you're given. You would then do the construction to make it go through the point A and be parallel to BC. Okay. What do I know? And they've numbered these angles 1 and 3. You could have numbered them 7 and 8. Whatever numbers you wanted. Okay. What do I know about these 3 numbers? Well, they're on a straight line. So I know that they'll add up to 180, and that's going to be the key to proving what I've got. Okay, so the question says I'm trying to prove that the angles in any triangle add up to 180. So I'm trying to prove that 2, 4 and 5 add up to 180. Okay, so how am I going to prove that? Well, I'm going to say I know that 1, 2 and 3 add up to 180, and I'm sure of that because they're on a straight line. So you need to write down 1, 2 and 3 are equal to 180 because they are on a straight line. Or like they've done, write the word straight line to the right. Okay. I know that 1 and 4, so this one and this one. So again, can you see the shape here? You're looking at the shape of a Z. So 1 and 4 are equal to each other because they are alternate angles. And again, if we take a look at 3 and 5, you're again going to see a Z, so a backward Z this time. Okay, so you should be able to see 2 Z's, and I'll just take a highlighter because normally it would be a bit easier, but obviously on the screen I'm not sure if it's coming out. So again, if you take a look at this shape, you're looking at your Z shape there, so your 1 and 4 are alternate angles, and this one's a backward Z. Okay, so 3 and 5 are alternate angles, and you already know that. So 1 and 4 are the same, and 3 and 5 are the same. So we're going to substitute 4 in for 1. So when we're back up at the start, we're going to substitute in angle 4 everywhere we see number 1, and everywhere we see number 5, we're going to substitute it with 3. So then 2 plus 4 plus 5 is equal to 180. Because I'm subbing in, and you can come back up here to 1, 2 and 3. So instead of 1 I'm putting in 4, and instead of 3 I'm putting in 5. Okay, and then you end up with 2, 4 and 5, and that means that they're adding up to 180. Okay, so that's the explanation for it. You do just have to learn it though. Okay, and there is no shortcut. I can't make it any easier other than to explain them to you. The second one then that you're going to take a look at, and again, I think 2 of these at any one time is enough. So you're going to take 2 for me. And I'm sorry girls, I didn't get to post yesterday, but 2 of them, and you're going to take yourself the weekend to learn them. And then we'll take another 2 next week and another 2 the following week, and then we'll be finished them. Okay. Okay, so the next one is each exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the 2 interior opposite angles. Okay, so again we have a triangle. This is given to us on the day of the exam. This is given to us in the question. This is something we already know. Okay, so they've labelled this one 1, 2, 3. Could have been 7, 8, 9, whatever they wanted. Okay. What construction do I need to do? So I want an exterior line, so I'm going to continue BC onto D. So I extend that line BC, and that's now the exterior angle. So number 4 is my exterior angle. Exterior meaning on the outside. of the triangle. And I'm trying to prove that that angle is equal to number 1 plus number 2, the sum of the opposite interior angles. So these are the angles that are opposite it, and they're interior. So that is, they're inside the triangle. Okay, so I'm trying to prove that 1 and 2, when I add them together, is the same as 4. So I'm going to start by saying, well, I know 1, 2 and 3 when you add them together is 180, and that's by the previous theorem that you've just learned. I'm going to know that 3 and 4 are 180 because they're on a straight line, and that's a piece of information that we accept and is given. So therefore, where I have 1, 2 and 3 here is equal to 180, I can put them all equal to each other. So I kind of skip a line here, which doesn't really help me. So if you just go, for example, 1 plus 2 plus 3, so angle 1, 2 and 3, and I know I'm supposed to put the little things in, but I always do that at the end, is equal to, so we know that that's equal to 180, is equal to 3 plus 4. And again, put your little ticks in, okay, because they're both equal to 180. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what's common to both of them, and what's common is 3. So we're going to take 3 out of the system and remove them by taking 3 away from both sides, or subtracting 3 from both sides. And now we've got number 1 and number 2 is equal to number 4, which is what I was trying to prove at the beginning. Okay, and that way I've proved that every exterior angle is equal to the sum of the 2 interior angles that are opposite it. And again, it is something you just have to learn. So that's theorem number 4 and theorem number 6. They're not going to come up, they're not going to ask you write out theorem 2, write out theorem 5, write out theorem 6. They're going to ask you questions like you'll see at the end of the chapter, where they give you a picture, and from that picture they ask you to work something out. So there's a picture, okay, a picture, and they ask you to do a proof, okay, and then they will say, like, investigate, for example. They'll use the word investigate. They'll ask you to show or to prove, okay, and then you'll know it's a theorem. Okay, so for homework, girls, I'm going to ask you to try and learn those 2, and you take the weekend, and you might just have to write it out. To be honest, it's old-fashioned school. You have no other choice. Just write it out about 100 times until you get it right, okay. If you don't understand it, or you have an issue, please do come back and let me know, and I'll go back and through the explanation, and I try and explain it again to you in a different way. Next week then, on the Monday, we'd say 9 and 14, and you'll take the week to do that, and then we'll do 12 and corollary 2 and corollary 3 the following week, and then corollary 5 the following week. So we'll split them up, because if you try to learn them all at the one time, you won't be able to. And then it doesn't look like we're going to be back anytime soon, that's for sure, girls. So we'll just have to try our best to take a look at these quadratic patterns. And I'll pull out a few questions in terms of patterns and do a few videos for you. And we'll do them next week, chapter 20. And then we're getting close to the end, because 27 is very much linked to 20. You'll have no problem with 26, because that's just algebra. And like the marker said in the mocks, you're very good at the algebra at the moment. And then the last part is transformation geometry, and that's a lot of drawing. You will see it, you will find it much easier. I'll have to look to other people to do videos, etc. for me on that one, because that's not something I'm going to be able to draw for you. You know my abilities with drawing, but I'm working on that one as we speak, so we'll get something for that one. Okay, take care, girls, and I shall talk to you soon. Take care.